Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our Father's Day edition of Sunday Live.
Hey, everyone.
Simon, are you a dad? I don't know. I never asked
I'm a
you.
dad. Yeah, I'm a dad. I've got a 20-year-old, so whose birthday was recently, and an 18-and-a-half-year-old. So I'm a dad. I was seeing my daughter down at university over the weekend. So yeah, I'm a dad. Yeah,
And
had a nice weekend. Yeah,
beautiful. And Steve, I know you're a dad. I see them
six kids in total.
wow.
I see them poking in that shed of yours once in a while.
I've got Emmy, Ollie, and Izzy. So Izzy's 13. Ollie, Emmy's 8. Ollie's 7. They all live at home, and then we got the older ones, twin girls, Sophie and Megan, who are 22, if I remember right, and they've got their own homes. And then Mackie's got his own home. Who just Christmas time made me and Donna grandparents, and
nice.
And so they Max doing me with our eldest son, and no, they're all brilliant. I had wonderful Father's Day wishes, and I got taken out for a nice Sunday roast, a very nice pub near Taunton. If anyone's ever visiting Somerset, look for the Ulliford Inn pub. It's a lovely meal there. The food's always great. So there we go. Free plug for them.
Yeah, very good. Sounds good. A granddad as well. That's impressive. I hadn't realised.
Yeah,
that.
and Baby Beck's wonderful. He really is. We go and see him, and he's miles away. So yeah, it's really good.
Well, that's awesome. I had a great Father's Day myself. I got to share the spotlight with my son, who just graduated high school. And I was very proud of him. And we got to share the Dad and Grad Day by the lake, little picnic. And it was perfect. Threw the ball around and just had a good time with the other kids. And so it couldn't have been better. That's why I put on my Facebook. My wife sent a little nice note about me, and I really appreciated that. And it couldn't have been a better day. So thank you.
That's fantastic.
And thank you to all those that are joining us on the live stream on the various channels. We are on Simon's Facebook group. So welcome to you folks. And we're also on various YouTube channels. And we're going to talk today about anything local SEO, mass page, SEO, anything to do with GMBs, Google My Business, anything to kind of help you to get your business seen online, things like that. So we're here to help you with that. One of the things we do as part of our program, if you're new to us, is toward the end of the program, about an hour in, we give away one of my domains from my domain collection. So if you're looking at some of the domains that I have, it's go.ht/domains. I'm not a real serious domain investor. I invest in some to do projects in the future. But today, what we have up for grabs is the following domains. And you'll be able to win one of these and take it and register into your account. It doesn't cost you anything to transfer it. You just have to pay to renew them. So it's shopbuy.com, lowestpricesale.com, proclicks.com with a Z, and proudly.me. Okay. So
Proudly Me. What a great one.
Yeah. So we'll have those that we'll give away in about an hour from now. So great. It's great to have these fellow dads with me today. Appreciate it. Steve, did you have any dad jokes you learned today?
Should I give away the one I told you before we went live?
I would love it. Yeah.
Okay. So a friend of mine glued my pack of cards together, and I don't know how to deal with them.
Oh man, Steve's always got a bad joke.
You know, that's an upgrade, because normally with the kids I go knock knock, who's there, Doctor Who. As my kids grew up, I used to do when's a door, not a door. No, and they got used to me with the answer when's a jar, right? And I used to go when's a door, not a door, and they go when's a jar. I go no, when it's open slightly. And so change it all the time.
Right. That's good stuff. Good stuff. So we've got let's just hit on what you guys are going to talk about. We'll just go around the room here and talk about what you're going to talk about, and then we'll take turns presenting. So go ahead, Steve. Do you want to talk
Not
about
a lot,
anything?
actually, not a lot tonight because I've had such a chilled out day. But there's a couple of SEO tips and tricks I will give away, things I do to help boost your site. And I will gladly give them away. Once Simon, I'm going to let Simon do his bit because I know Simon's going to tell you what he's going to talk about, and it's going to be awesome. So we'll let Simon explain what he's going to do, and then after Simon's done his bit, I'll give away my little tips and tricks I do with boosting your site.
All right, Simon, what do you got on the plate today?
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about Google My Business, and I think it's going to be a bit of a team effort because it'll be welcome to get some of you guys' perspectives as well. Obviously, Google My Business is a topic we all know and love. I'm going to actually go through a real client case study. So this was a franchise of carpet cleaners that I was working with doing some of the GMBs. So I'm going to show you some before and afters, talk about some of the stuff that I did, so show you some data. So we'll obviously put in some tips there as well, but I think it's sometimes quite good for people to actually see some actual client work and data and hopefully get some questions out of that. So that's the plan, if that sounds all right.
That sounds good. What I'll do is I'm going to touch on the new SiphonAI beta, which is in the Mass.page Tools console now. So you can go ahead and check it out. We'll do a little demo run through with it. And we could talk about some of the features that we are working on in the background. So we'll talk a little bit about that coming up and kind of clarify how this Siphon will kind of be a great product for those that are looking to gather content on pretty much any niche. So, or niche, whatever you say.
Niche, yeah.
I like niche, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Simon, you ready to go?
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Just go a second. I'll just get that up here now. Hold on.
Now, do you say tomato or tomato?
I say
Come
tomato.
One final one, right? My partner, I say mirror, right? She says mirror.
Mirror. No, I don't say mirror.
Here you go, Simon. The stage is yours.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, just a few slides to go through, pretty much like we do, and I'm expecting everyone on the stream knows Google My Business, so I don't want to sort of cover off some of the basics. I think probably people will be familiar with, but let's just sort of put a bit of context in it. I mean, in my opinion, Google My Business is the #1 marketing strategy for local businesses. I think it's the top one. It does vary by niche, whatever you want to call it, in terms of its level of importance. But I think by and large, on average, it's the most powerful local marketing strategy, certainly amongst the top ones. And I think it's particularly important because so many searches on Google these days are local, and when people are searching for local keywords, local services, if they want an emergency plumber, you can bet that they're going to buy a service very quickly. So Google My Business is one of those excellent tools which you can use alongside your organic SEO and other techniques to target that high purchase intent. Obviously, it's great because if you can get them to rank organically, they rank just below the ads, but above the regular organic search results. So they get pride of place. And I think Google My Business is something that's trusted as well. A lot of people are going straight into the Google My Business and then going straight to click to call, or they're going straight into the website and not necessarily even going further on than that. So because of the star ratings and Google's investing so much in the platform, I think it really leads to high conversion rates and a lot of click-through. So it's a great thing to be working on, not only if you're obviously working with local clients, but if you're running your own lead gen sites, you're building a rank and rent sites or whatever. These are ideal things to have, so to make your site and lead gen site look like a regular business, and that's what you want it to look like. So I think probably pretty much everyone knows Google My Business is pretty important, but not always easy to come by. Here's obviously what it looks like on maps. So you see some of the Google My Business listings. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. And Google's enhancing them. Obviously, the reviews and things are already there, but it's also starting to pull out new information. So there's an excerpt from a review there. It's also referencing keywords that are mentioned on regular websites, and Google's just developing the platform. It's something that's going to become increasingly important, even more important than it already is. So that's the kind of background, and probably not too many surprises for people there. So this is a case study I did with a carpet cleaning franchise, a national franchise in the UK, and this is an example from one of the GMBs that I was optimizing. Obviously, they wanted to boost their inquiries and sales. It was following one of the COVID knockdowns that we had in the UK last year. And within obviously the work that I did, it was a full optimization. So went through all the different content on the GMB, post photos, reviews, Q&As, appointment links, services, products, geotagging images, a whole load of things that I go through in terms of my regular workflow when I'm optimizing a GMB. And then after that, there was regular posting of posts, events, and photos during the month afterwards and in subsequent months. So it was a full kind of optimization and management overlay. So going to show you some charts here. I don't know how many of you will have seen these before. These are called GeoGrid analysis, and this is a great way for you to look at how a Google My Business is ranking on effectively a street by street, or really pinpointed location by location basis. So this is a map that covers a whole city of about 200,000 people, and you can see that this GMB is ranking well in the smaller area, but as you go out not too far, it doesn't rank so well. And this is a great thing for you to analyze on your own site. It's a great thing to show clients because it's very visual and it shows where they are. So if we look at that's the before, and then this is the after within 1 week. So hopefully people can see that in more detail, but there's clearly significantly more ones and greens, and obviously you're in a very highly populated area, so the impact on that in terms of your traffic and your rankings is significant. So in terms of this listing, they went from being kind of average 5 in the area of the analysis to ranking average, being the most popular, being the number 1 ranked GMB. And this happened actually within the space of a week. So I just wanted to share this chart, which is showing the number of views on search, the optimization taking place, and pretty much a step change happening between 1 week to the next. And obviously I do a lot of work on SEO, organic SEO, and that's extremely powerful, but it does take time. Whereas Google My Business, you can actually get an effect to happen within days, within weeks. And it's very good if you're starting to work with clients or you're working on it on your own websites. You can have a strong change fairly quickly, and obviously it's great to be able to go back and have a look at this. This data is actually from the Google My Business app, so it gives you some insights. The other one was from a mapping software called Local Falcon, but there's many others that do those GeoGrid analysis as well. So that was the step change. So again, from a return on investment point of view, listings were nearly doubled. Website visits went up 300%. Now, coming from quite a low base, 11 visits versus 33. But if those extra 22 visits, if half of those result in new business, it's a massive extra income coming in for this. This is just on one GMB. Phone calls also went up as well. So from the client's point of view, and if you're doing it on your own website, the return on investment was achieved within 1 week. So obviously I charged for this service, but the amount that I charged for that was completely paid for in under a week due to extra bookings and sales. And as I say, they went to number 1 in the local area. So that's just going to give you hopefully a bit of a flavor there on how quickly GMBs can pop and make a difference. And I guess from my perspective, just sort of general comment on GMBs, they're valuable, and I think they're more valuable than ever. They work really well for your own site. They work really well, obviously, if you're helping clients, and they work really well if you're doing lead generation sites, because if you're a regular business, like a local plumber or a local accountant or an osteopath or whatever, electrician, whatever you are, you're going to have a GMB. So if you're doing a lead generation site, ideally you have a GMB as well. One of the main ranking factors is proximity. So if you possibly can, and this is where we come up a little bit against Google My Business, Google terms and conditions. If you're able to have a public address, that's good, and that will definitely help your rankings. However, Google is definitely cracking down on this. So they are checking people's addresses, and if you're registered at a virtual address or a home address and you're showing it as effectively a retail or a place where clients can visit you, they may suspend your listing or ask you to re-verify whatever else. So you have to be very careful, and I'm seeing a lot of suspensions. I've had some of my own listings suspended. I had to re-verify. So definitely be cautious about making multiple changes on GMBs. If you change your name and address and phone number and or website in a short period of time, that may trigger a re-verification. So you may, if you have gone public on an address, it may trigger and ask you to re-verify, and Google might not have it public. So it's always a bit of a balancing act between the two. But if it's there, you might be better to let sleeping dogs lie on some of it and move forward. So obviously, if it's a public address, it's there meant to be a real premises, or they'll ask you to become something called a service area of business, an SAB, and that's really to cover people who might be like a plumber that works at people's locations and doesn't have an office address. But certainly, if you have a public address, it is a strong ranking factor. But definitely be careful in what you do. Don't disrupt things too much at the moment. Be cautious. So that's my summary on Google My Business. There's a link that I'm going to pop up here, and we'll obviously take some questions in a second, but I'll just pop this link up. If you want to download this data and case study, here is the link now. So you go to go.ht/study. Keep that there for a second, and you're welcome to download that, and you can see the stats in a bit more detail. And obviously it'd be great to get some questions here as well, just a bit of a whiz through Google My Business, and obviously Daryl and Steve will have some views on it too. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, or if you guys have any questions. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've not shown that to you before. Yeah,
so something that I do to get GMBs. Now, obviously, a lot of people watching this are in the lead gen world, or you want to get into a different location with your own business. Now, one of the things that I have done is I will search for an empty local business in my area or the area I want to get into. And I will then, in the UK, we can do this. I don't know if it works in the USA. Someone would have to tell me. But in the UK, I contacted the local, I contacted the Royal Mail, and I said, I used to be at this address with my business. I was only there a couple of months, had to move urgently because of COVID. But I've realised my mail's still going there and I can't get to it. Can you help me with a redirection? And they will turn around and go, yeah, you can pay for a 3 month, 6 month, whatever. So I'll pay for a 3 month redirection with them. They'll ask to confirm for something with the address on. So make a letterhead up, or a previous letter or something to prove that you were there when you weren't, and get a redirection set up. Then get Google to send you a business card out for that address. But I emphasize this all the time. Before you get your GMB, do all your citations. So build your website, make your website look like a proper local business website. If it's not a proper business, that is, and do your citations first. Your Yelps, your Yelp, your any listing directory you can get yourself on. Get a Facebook page, Twitter page, social media platforms, and put posts up. And very last of all, do your GMB. All right, that's the biggest thing I always say to people, because when you build that GMB, you're going to set up your name, address, and phone number. They're the three things. Once you set them, you never change them ever. All right. Now, there's an exception to the rule, and that is if you manage to get an expired domain name from expireddomains.net related to a particular niche, like a plumber, then that's the point when you go in. And what I found is you add a phone number. Don't remove the current one. Add a phone number and leave it. All right. And because by getting an expired domain name, you can get hold of the GMB by them confirming by email again, and add a phone number, leave it a couple of months, and then go back in and remove the original phone number, but don't change anything else. All right.
Yeah. You can have more than one phone number. You can set one to be primary,
Yeah.
one secondary, and swap them around. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but the main thing I have found to get a GMB, and I do it last of all because Google's very clever. Google will go on the net, and if you're a lead gen business and it picks up on your details, but you haven't got any other sites up, as in citations, no backlinks, no nothing. At first, you'd probably go, okay, yeah, it's a new business, we'll give them a chance. But let's say 2 months down the line, you've done nothing, no citations, no nothing. It will eventually go, well, that's a bit spammy, let's close it down. And the second thing that makes you re-verify is any part of the name, address, or phone number that you change on it. So that's my sort of top tips with GMBs all the way is set and forget them. Add as much data when you first set them. Add a Google website to it. By the way, also get friends and family to go and leave reviews. You know, because when it comes to service area GMB or a lead gen GMB, it's hard to get reviews. So get some friends and family who've got a Google account just to nip on and leave you a nice, polite review.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't buy any reviews. I mean, Google's definitely clamping down on that, and I've seen a lot of sites where they're going on there and they're either not making it on or they're going on, they're being removed. And I'd stay away from any of that. I just don't think it's worth it. But Google My Business is a valuable asset, and I wouldn't do anything that would you'd want to jeopardize that. One thing I did notice recently is, and I set up a GMB recently, and it didn't ask me to verify the address. Now, it was a service area business GMB. It wasn't one with an address, but they just let it through, and there was no, even though the address is hidden, they didn't even ask for it and didn't ask to verify. So that was quite interesting. So I don't know if it's I'm a local guy, like a level 6 local guide. So I don't know if they're letting it through because of that, or if it's just more of a policy. But I heard somebody else had done a similar thing where because it was an SAB, they were not going to verify you, which seems.
I'll tell you, I manage a number of GMBs for various companies, so I've become managers on their behalf.
Yeah,
I don't own the GMB, but I'm just a manager, and because I manage probably about 30 GMBs in my account, when I add a new one, sometimes Google will just go, "Yeah, it's yours, have it." They won't ask you to verify or anything because you've got that local level of authority, because you've been verified by other local businesses who are turning around and saying, okay, that's Steve. He's got 20 GMBs already, 5 of which are local businesses that he's managing, some of which are his own. That's fine. Yeah. That's cool. So when you set a new one up, sometimes they'll just say, yeah, have it. And that's what happens there. And also, being a Google reviewer also, so as you move up the levels, they trust you more and more on the local guides.
I think that's right, yeah.
So, hi, Facebook user. Good evening to you.
So, you got any questions? Yeah. Don's got a client site. He's having a hard time ranking garage door company making posts. Is this on your GMB then, Don, or is this just in general? I assume it's on your GMB. If you've got it fully optimized, and I mean, obviously there's a lot involved in that, but essentially make sure every bit of it is completed and you have a good stack of images and far more images than your competitors. And there's geotagging, there's all sorts of things you do on file names in the background. Yeah, GMB there, Dom. I think on sort of once you've done the initial optimization, regular posting. So I would recommend posting once a week at least on post and put up a photo as well. And you can obviously there's keyword techniques in there. Don's a level 7 local guide. Look at that. He's outdone me there. That's good. So and I think that constant activity, I have seen if you don't continue the activity, it does ebb away a little bit and you can lose some rankings. So if you're not there yet, keep on going with it. Obviously reviews are important to build up, Q&A, how you answer them, and obviously the Google does reference your main website as well. So often Google will highlight a GMB because of content that's actually on the website, which is really interesting. They cross-reference each other. So if you've got some good on-page on your website about garage doors, that should help you pop on the GMB as well. But it's like all these things. It's a bit of an ongoing process. Yeah.
Something else, Don, that you can do that I do is go into Google, search for your competitors, pick one of them, take their URL, remove the HTTPs and the //, just their URL, put it in quotes, and do a search on Google to find what backlinks they've got, what citations is more important, right? And match their citations. There's a few products out there. Bright Local, I think, will also match citations for you as well.
Yeah.
White Spark, you know, so it's those that you can do that as well. But what you want to be doing is, let's say you got three companies, company A, B, and C, right? And company A have got two citations, one being Bing and one being Facebook. Company B has got Bing, Facebook, and Yelp. Company C in the UK would have BT and Twitter. Match them all, match every single one, right? So that way, then you've got all the citations done that they don't, and you'll find that you will move up above them into the free pack. I've done this loads of times, and it also helps boost your own website as well. Stick a link on a page. Doesn't have to be a visible front page, but stick a link to your GMB on a web page on your site as well, and index that page in the sitemap. You know, little things like that you can do that will help boost. If you haven't got many citations, you won't move. It won't move up, to be honest.
Yeah, just on what Don's saying there about posting 3 times a week and photos almost daily. I mean, well, Steve was alluding to it there. If you look at your competitors, are they posting photos almost daily? The ones that are actually ranking at the top, are they posting 3 times a week? It might be, if you're very out of line versus that it's either Google's not valuing it or might be even downplaying it. So you don't want to be massively out of line with what your competitors are doing, the ones that are being well ranked. So if they're posting once a week, once every 2 weeks, I would mirror that, maybe do it a little bit slightly more often, but I wouldn't be putting through daily photos if your competitors are only doing once every couple of weeks. I wouldn't be that out of line. If that's not moving the dial for you, it's probably something else. As Steve mentions there, citations, could be reviews. As your Q&A filled out, are you replying to reviews? There's a long list of other things that may be in the mix there. Obviously, the authority of their website is going to help us as well, and the citations on that. So it's a bit of a sort of rounded picture, but I wouldn't keep posting massive activity on the GMB if it's massively out of line versus your competitors. So just have a look at what they're doing and just try and do a little bit more than them, but nothing crazy. Try and have a look at some other factors. See if that helps.
I agree with that. Mirror what they're doing. They're at the top for a reason. So go and look at what they're doing and try and mirror it in a way that then you can be below them or just above them. And you know, and also don't just submit to Google. There's Yahoo. There's loads of search engines out there that you can do a search for. How do I submit to Yahoo? How do I submit to this search engine? DuckDuckGo or others. And normally they'll have a link on their site that you paste your URL in and submit it as well. So do little things like that. But don't overdo it. If you're posting three times a week, you may be posting too often.
Yeah, might be doing too often. Yeah.
You know, and if they're not posting at all, Google will go, okay, well, these two here aren't posting at all, and they've got 20 citations. He's got 4 citations posting every day. That's a bit odd, you know. So you have to think it's all algorithms and automation now with Google. You know, so you have to really watch what other people are doing and sort of mirror them a little bit.
Yeah,
I think if it didn't work that way. Sorry, Daryl, you go and you say it.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, if you were watching a chorus of singers, and one person is singing completely in a different tone and a different key, that's what the algorithm's gonna pick up. Whereas if you're in the pack and you're in key with everything else that's successful, you're not going to set off alarm bells with the algorithm as much as if you try to do something over optimized or you do something over the top. That's why I always recommend, you know, fly under the radar. That's the only way to do mass page. That's the only way to do SEO today is to fly under the radar. Don't send off any alarm bells. Don't over force what you're doing down Google's throat, because that doesn't work today. It won't work.
I think that's right. Because if it did work, if you were posting 3 times a day, Don, somebody could come in and do 4 times and 5 times and then 6 times. It's an arms race. And if Google's not valuing that contribution, it's not going to help you. So yeah, definitely check on what other people are doing and see if that helps. Cool. Okay. I don't know if anybody else has any other. That's helpful for you, Don. If anybody else has anything,
I have a
Daryl,
question. I have a question for you, Simon. From a workflow standpoint, when it comes to GMB optimization, do you feel at what point you outsource things with your GMB, or do you not trust anybody with your GMB but your own self to do the work? So what is your feeling on that?
So the workflow I've got is, and this is actually for client SEO and GMBs, is I don't like other people to touch a client site. I always end up being the end point, so I wouldn't have somebody else logging in or posting directly to somebody's GMB, although obviously I do buy a lot of content and I will send that to people for them to install or work on their behalf. So that's my kind of dividing line. On GMB, that there are plenty of tools that mean you don't have to access the listing directly, and you can send through an API, and because of that, actually I can send out bulk posts. So I can send 10, 50, 100 if I had a GMB set of listings that big. And I manage it that way. So I try to automate it and use the tools as much as possible, rather than having an army of VAs logging into client accounts and whatever else. So that's just my approach, and everyone's different. But that's I would use a tool and automate it and spin it and use shortcodes and variables to send the content out.
I mean, I just have this feeling that when you break, let's say, a GMB, it's just as bad or worse. I would say it's probably 10 times worse than if you break a PBN. If you break a PBN domain, you can't really recover it once it's broken. It's really broken for a long time, unless you can completely convince Google that it's on a different trajectory than what you were doing before. But when you break somebody's GMB, their Google My Business, by either over optimizing or doing some crazy stuff with your backlinking to it, or doing all kinds of stuff, I think once you get that black mark on your GMB, that I think that's really, really bad stuff.
Yeah, I think you have to be cautious. I use separate Gmail accounts for each person I would log into anyway, to keep it kind of sectioned off. So if I had a problem on one, that the absolute last thing I'd want to do is for other accounts to be contaminated. So I try and keep them separate. So one Gmail, ideally the client gives you it for one set, and don't kind of mix them up. And I don't mix them up with my own anymore. I used to, but I'll have them completely separate. So if I'm damage something, it's on my own head, but I keep it separate from others. That's just another way to just try and protect it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is a lot of people have some techniques to get GMBs. Steven mentioned a couple of sneaky black hat approaches. There's a lot of ways that you can do it, but is it sustainable? And is it, if you do too much of it, they know where you're pointing all this stuff to. You're pointing it to a money site. Well, don't you think that could hurt your money site if you do like 10 GMBs in a black hat method? I just feel like it's a risk that I'm not willing to take with a real client site or a real money site that I really care about. Now, if it's just a lead gen site, and I could start over in 10 minutes, that's a whole other story, and we can have that conversation. But if it comes down to like a real money site, and you're trying to feed your family off of the income from that business, I wouldn't get in a dagger fight with Google, because you're going to lose.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So something else that I suggest as well is 1 GMB for 1 domain name. So when you're doing your lead gen site, don't do what some people do, and they go, I'm going to set 1 domain name up and have multiple areas on that nationally, and link up multiple GMBs to that 1 domain name. Google's going to get wise. So set up, if you're going to do plumbing in London and plumbing in Bristol, do a Bristol site and a London site, and link a GMB to each of those. That way, then, if the London site goes down, you're still making money from the Bristol site. And certainly do them in separate accounts for sort of the lead gen side. I have about 5 accounts. And in each, I have one account, I have 10 clients in it, which I'm a manager of their site. And the only reason I've done it that way is that account's linked through to a course I did with Google, and I got Google, and I became Google approved, accredited by Google, by doing a very long-winded questionnaire to make sure I knew what I was talking about on managing GMBs. And because of that, I can be a manager as many as I want, and that won't do any harm. I will not put any of my lead gen sites or GMBs into that account at all. I'm playing it safe. I have a separate account for that, but all my clients as a manager stay in that one, and one of my GMBs for my own business is in there as well. And it's just a safety thing more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of two different types of websites, right? There are the money sites that are based on real businesses, and then there's the kind of the lead gen sites that are in the gray hat world, where they draw leads, but they're not really playing by the same rules as, say, a money site like a real corporation is using, or real business with 20, 30 employees have. Those sites you don't mess with Google at all with. And some of the techniques that we talk about on this channel, and some of the trainings and stuff with MassPage, we talk about some gray hat techniques. And some of these gray hat techniques you can get away with because they're lead gen websites that have a low bar to recreate another lead gen website. So keep that in mind, guys. If you're watching this and you hear a technique and you're like, wow, that's great, it could put me to the top of Google, be very, very careful to understand the difference between a lead gen site and a real money site with real employees and real operations behind it. Does that make sense to you guys?
100%.
I agree with you on that, Daryl.
Be cautious,
Yeah, absolutely. Anything with a client site, you only do stuff for that client. You don't do any white hat or black hat stuff to boost them. The easiest thing I find with clients is if you build the citations for them properly and link and set them all up with name, address, and phone number that all match, you'll find they'll move up. But when it comes to a lead gen site, what I find, don't just build one lead gen site, build 10, 20, 30 in the end over a period of a couple of years. And you'll find with owning 20 sites, if one of the sites goes down because the GMB is damaged or the domain's damaged, you've still got 19 more to make your money from. You can then say, okay, daveplumbing.com has now been damaged. I'm going to set up dave-plumbing.com, put my site, copy my site over, change it enough so it's different, set a new GMB up in a different address. Boom, you've got yourself a new lead gen site, let it rank. And that's how you replace it. But don't do this with client sites.
I mean, that's the whole thought process of my tool, mass.page, is to allow you the low barrier to entry to jump in the lead generation game, right? And to get a highly optimized website like the pros would have very, very quickly. But the barrier to entry is a lot lower than, let's say, building an established business with 10 plus employees and, longevity and all the kind of stuff. So just, keep it in mind, local SEO and local lead gen SEO are kind of two different, thought processes and philosophies in my book.
Good advice. Yeah. I was going to say one of the examples is it has been in the past very popular to add locations and try and keyword stuff, GMBs, and I've done it myself a number of years ago. You could put a whole string in, and that's stuff that's definitely Google's cracking down on. Local guides are changing it, Google are seeing it, and then looking at it, and then obviously you could have a situation where you try and put that stuff in. They don't allow it. They suspend you for 3-4 weeks. Then it comes back. Then you're not allowed to show your address and how much business you've lost in the meantime. So I think on that sort of thing, you've got to play it a straight bat on the naming, especially with client sites, because the consequences are going to be so high. But yeah, be careful and take a view. And if anybody wants to ask any questions, I'm always happy to offer people a kind of half an hour to have a chat. So if anybody wants to follow up on this, please feel free to book a time and we can.
Yeah, don't you have go.ht/Simon, right?
That's me. Yeah, I've got a new link. Yeah. So if anyone wants to book a half an hour, if we've not spoken before, you want to have a quick kind of half an hour one-to-one, talk about GMB or anything else you want to speak about this, book it through there and hopefully speak soon. Yeah.
Just to say as well, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And what I mean by that is also sign up with Bing. Look at some of the other search engines that offer the GMB equivalent and sign up with them as well, because you'll find you'll get traffic from them just as much. Yes, Google's number one, Bing's number two, and there's a few others out there that allow you to set up listings on their search engine. So go and have a look for them and get listed with them, because you'll find that maybe if your GMB goes down, the Bing version is still up and running fine. And Bing, to be honest, are a lot less fussier than Google at the moment. They really want your business. When I did some advertising with them, they actually phoned me up and walked me through how to optimize my listing fully, start to finish. And they did such a good job that the per click was so low that I did the advertising with them for about 3 months until I didn't need it anymore.
I love the Bing audience. The click-through rates convert so much higher than Google's click-through rate conversions on your website. I think I think a lot of people that use Bing, it's the default inside their browser, and I think they kind of just trust it because it comes right with their browser, and it's something that they just move forward with because it's just right there, right? They didn't go to Google. They typed it into the browser and they found you, that kind of thing. And maybe they're a little less sophisticated. Someone could say that. But the traffic does convert. It does work pretty well.
Yeah, I thought a lot of corporates also have Bing as their default search engine. So I think you get a slightly older demographic, and you might get a slightly more affluent demographic as well because of the corporate stuff. It's definitely a different profile that comes through. But yeah, corporates use it. Yeah,
that's a great point. So Stephen, did you have anything you wanted to add on top of Simon before I talk about Siphon?
No, I think I touched base there. I mean, the main thing I would say as well is use expireddomains.net. Do a search. You can narrow down the search for them. It's free to sign up. You can select .coms only. You can do a search for your niche. It'll pull up a whole list of them. And something I do, I will take the URL, see if it's available. You click on it and it takes you to GoDaddy, and you can have a look there if it's suitable for you. And then if it's available, take the URL, put it in brackets, like I've said before, and do a search, because sometimes the GMB will come up that's linked to it. So then you can buy the domain name, do a catch-all, and grab that GMB. When you first if you do get an expired domain and the GMB, sit the GMB there and don't do anything with it at first. Build the site, build your citations, do everything else you're meant to do first, and then edit the GMB last of all.
Yeah, I think that's smart advice. We're at the mercy because Google has so much traffic, and we know that the GMBs work so well. They now have these trusted accounts where they have Google approved, like for lawyers and like doctors and things like that, where they've actually checked for licenses and things like that. I've got one particular client in New York City that has one of those accounts. And he was saying, Daryl, these are performing amazingly well. When you have a Google endorsement on your quote unquote GMB listing, you're right up at the top listing. It just clears up any kind of confusion of what people can trust and what they can't trust. So believe me, Google will be changing this across many, many niches. Where it will be based on Google saying this is a real business and this is not a real business, and this is a business. Let's just say not even just Google approving it based on a real business. These people paid us for every single lead that comes through. So the monetization for Google is going to get crazy. I hope what happens is a competitor comes in and sort of plays more organic and allows for the everyday business to have a chance to not have to pay through the nose every single time they get a customer. I really hope that happens. But at this point, Google owns the game, and it's going to be Google's rules as we move forward. with the way they're going to screen out people and the way that they're going to monetize every single click coming from those very trusted parts of the above the fold, if you will, on a search. So that's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
No, I agree. Google's very much going down the route of wanting to make more money. The local search, I forgot what it's called now, but there's a new thing out where a Google approved tick. But for local businesses now, and they're going big time down that route. And the reason they're doing a lot of this is they want to make money. If you look at the adverts at the top now, it's a tiny little circle that says ad. It looks like a normal listing because they found out that people hated ads, and they'd scroll up and pick a normal business. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. Find other ways to promote your business. And ultimately, if you want a fast way of making money out of lead gen sites, go and find someone who's an expert about Google My Business and actually the advertising with Google, and pay for advertising, but make sure that each click you pay for, you make more money on the lead coming through the system, because there's no harm. Google doesn't mind you making money off the back of advertising. That's what's the point of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these Google certified sites, you put yourself in Google's shoes for a minute. It does two things. One, it adds more money to their pocketbook, but two, it separates the people that are willing to invest money in their website and people that are not. People that are real businesses are willing to invest money in their clicks. And so it kind of screens out the sort of faux businesses that are just really good at SEO, but they're not really, not real legitimate businesses and things like that. So, it's the full monetization of GMBs. That's exactly what it is, Don. But at the same point, it has 2 points for them. Is that, okay, let me back up for a second. With all of this AI, okay, that's out right now in 2021, and what's going to be automated in the future, right? Google has to find a way to separate spewed out content generation, right, from the real business that is really out there. Okay, so to divide the C's, they have to say, okay, these people are willing to actually pay and get certified, and these people are not, right? And these people are basically really good at SEO, really good at playing the GMB game, and so on and so forth. They're getting the traffic, but how do we know that this isn't an AI created website, 100% AI developed website, built at scale with proxies and everything else, right? I mean, the ability to do this is all coming, where you could just click a button and 1,000 websites will be made in the next 3 hours for you, right? And all of this stuff is done for you, right? All of the, indexing, all of the content creation, all of the image, all that stuff could be built off of the tools that are coming out this year, next year, and the year after. So what does Google do at this point? They have to say, okay, we want to make sure authorship means something. We want to make sure that the experts in the field are actually building these websites. We want to make sure that there's a real human behind this business. A real business is present before we start to list it. Wouldn't you guys agree? That's the situation. That's the game that they're playing right now. Is AI is taking over.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also on the point about ads is definitely Google's finding more places to put ads. So the real estate, the space on the screen, there's more opportunities for ads. But Google has to be careful that it doesn't just make itself into adverts only, and it still has to perform its mission as a search engine. I think that goes back to your point there, Daryl, is that they have to still provide quality authors, EAT, expertise, authority, trust, and part of the results, even though they're featuring more monetization ads. If it's just all ads, I don't think people are going to want to go and look at it. But I think when the organic stuff comes through, it definitely has to be quality. So it's a bit of a balancing act for them, I think.
Yeah, I love it, Don. Yeah, this is for the sequel of the Mass Page Tools 4.0. Yeah, I mean, seriously, if it isn't if it isn't Daryl Ledyard working on this, it's somebody else that's working on it. And the idea that content has to come from these very slow processes of paying a content developer, writer, and go ahead and getting your citations and all this stuff. Eventually, all that stuff can be put into a nice, neat AI-driven box, and just all of this stuff just keeps getting spewed out there. So Google's been preparing for this. Google does AI. They know what this stuff is, right? They know how this stuff can be just automatic, created. So they have to prepare for it. And we're living in a world where deep fakes and AI delivered phone calls and all these kinds of things are happening. And we have to be able to change the verification that, like when you get a call that's a spam from another country in Nigeria or something like that, where they're doing some kind of a thing saying we're from the IRS and we're going to take and arrest you if you don't do this, right? All that's from this, these digitized sound files that don't sound very real. But what happens when that stuff sounds so real and it can communicate back and forth with you, right? We have seen this with some various models with AI, where as that gets into the hands of people that are nefarious in their intentions, they can do all kinds of things. The same thing with when it comes to building out websites, lead generation, scams. All of these kinds of things can be automated with the effect of AI, with the effect of being able to automate the process of just building and building and building and building and building. So anyway, so I get off my high horse about this, but I really feel like you have to understand that this is the world that we live in. Maybe in 2021, 22, 23, it's just going to start to show its face, that we're in a world where trust of the actual content generation, the human behind it, is going to be very, very important. And I think that we see it in certain industries now. I think it's going to get to the point where there's definitely a larger number of those industries that Google really cares to enforce that the authority to eat takes place, and that you can't just become this sea of website building that isn't legit. And that's just the way it is. So I guess the moral of the story is, just be aware of the environment that you're in, because the environment is changing. So that's
just one more golden nugget for people. When you're doing lead generation, you set a site up for the first time, set your citations, like I've said, set your GMB up. When you set your GMB up for the first couple of weeks, point the phone number to route through to yourself on a number you can answer on. Because I've had Google phone me within a couple of weeks to make sure I am a real company. Right. And so it's always helpful to have that set up properly, that you'll answer. Yes, you may be wanting to generate leads and you've got to write them down and put them through. But that's more so for the GMB. The other thing you can do as well is you can put two numbers on the GMB. So you can say main number and like office number. So you can have an office number, and so if they call the main number, it may eventually go through to answer phone. If they call the office number, they get you. So you got a few options there anyway.
Yeah, just Mike just made a point there about animated pictures, animated ads on your GMB in the product section. Yeah, I saw that earlier today, actually. I think the guy at White Spark worked out a way to do it, and I saw a couple of YouTubes saying it. So that looks like quite a nice way to add a bit of a showcase to your product images. So yeah, I'll be looking into that myself. Looks really cool.
Yeah, great one. Yeah, if you go to Product Hunt, most of the products on there are animated images to just kind of stand up off those listings and things like that. So, yeah, great advice, Mike. All right, guys. I guess I'll go ahead with my part of things, and we'll talk a little bit about Siphon. So inside of Matt's page tools, currently for enterprise users, if we click on Siphon Beta over to the left side, you'll see the new Siphon Beta, which has changed a little bit. Before it was we had the question thing up here. Now we start with just the keyword, and then you can just click if you want questions. So if, let's say, for instance, we were looking for, let's say, locksmith, and we will go ahead and click generate questions. Says, are locksmiths in demand? All right, let's do that. We'll click paraphrase and hit Siphon. Oh, wait, I do have to do one other step, but we're going to be taking this step out. So you'll be able to, you can review your links right now, but eventually if you just go right to Siphon, it'll go ahead and it'll siphon them out. So what Siphon does, if you're new to this, is it's going to go to these URLs and grab the content from them and then rewrite each page for you, okay? So you'll basically have information that has been rewritten, paraphrased from each of these sites that you can then combine into a single document, or you'll be able to eventually send it to your mass.page form to build websites off of the content, okay, after you shifted things around, moved things around the way you want it. We have a number of new features that will be coming out, and the people here in the Siphon beta program inside of mass.page will get the first people to get a chance to test it out and to try it out. And so that'll be coming. And then July 9th, we plan to have the standalone version for SiphonAI.com. And so we'll have that, if all things go well, we'll be able to have that for you so that you can jump on board if you don't have the enterprise plan. Okay. So this has been rewritten. Now, one of the things we've added here, Stephen, I want you to get your attention on this. We added spin text. So you can go ahead and just click this, and it'll use your spin text credits inside of your MassPage account to turn this into spin text for your evergreen site.
That is such a nice feature now.
Yeah.
It's it's the thing is, and what I love about Siphon is it includes with the credits the spin text option, compared to some of them out there that you need to also have a spin rewriter added to your account, which is fine. But what I love about this is it's an all-in-one. So you just literally put your content in, say, spin it, grab the spin text, paste it onto your site. You're done, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, it's always best to manually do spin text. This is just for those that want a lot of variety. Some of these I wouldn't approve myself on my sites. But if you go through this, and you can go ahead and use these as ideas to go ahead and edit this real quick and change things that are kind of odd words. But Word AI is what we're using, and it does a very good job. It just depends. Like if you have garbage in, you get garbage out. If it's well written from the get-go, then it's great. But what we're doing here is kind of cool. We're using a search term. We're generating questions. We're producing the URLs that answer that question. We're going and paraphrasing each of those things. Then we're adding spin text to it. Okay, so then all of this stuff starts to become very, very unique as you go forward with it. Okay. Again, spin text is optional. If you want to add that, you can. If you want to manually do it, you can do that as well. But we do have that as one of the new features that we're rolling out. Some of the features that we have coming will include heading tags, where we're going to use AI to generate heading tags based on the content. So your different the content in these different groups will be able to create heading tags, which will be great because they'll go right into these description body sections. Okay, so you'll be able to do a whole bunch of heading tags just automatically generated off of your GMB and the keywords that you set, and also the context of the information that you were able to siphon. Okay, so we're going to try to simplify this as much as we can, but it's a really cool tool. If you have a bunch of URLs, you can put up to 15 in here and hit paraphrase, and it'll just grab the information from it and paraphrase it for you. If you have a block of text you want to paraphrase, you just go ahead and put this in here and click on this, and it'll reword it for you. and you'll get some uniqueness that's well written for having some individual information. Okay, so somebody asked, let's see. I found that Siphon works on Google Chrome, but does not work on Firefox when I click the Siphon button. Okay, let me take a look at who said that, and we'll see if I can get that fixed. That was Michael Norris. Okay, so yeah, we'll take a look at that on Firefox. I'd like to maybe message me, Michael, and tell me what version of Firefox you're using, and I'll see if we can track that down and see what's going on with that. Okay, but yeah, thanks for the info on that. Appreciate it. All right, so that's what I've got here. Let me just stop sharing my screen. Any questions, responses, any ideas, Steve, Simon?
Just to respond to the issue on Firefox, and I use Firefox a lot, but I also now use the Brave browser, which is basically a spin-off of the Google browser, but it doesn't have all the rubbish in the background. So you can use the Brave browser, and that works perfectly well with Siphon as well, because I've been playing around with it. But generally speaking, I mean, the Siphon's just going to come on so well, Daryl. I know I won't give anything away, but I know Daryl's got some big plans with Siphon. So those that have got in already with Siphon, get in now. I'm not just saying this for the sake of it. I think the future of this is so exciting, and me and Daryl have many conversations where we won't give away too much, because what we do is we say we're going to do this, and then weeks on we still haven't done it, because the technology has to be there in play, and the developers have to get it right before we release these things into the world. So as we get closer to releasing things, then we turn around and say, hey, this has been added. But from when it first came out to now, there's so much value been added, Daryl.
Yeah, thank you. The developers are working really hard on it. We are trying to innovate something that's not else on the market. This is trying to stand this alone from its own, all the competitors, to kind of create something that's usable for people at scale. David Tulloch wants to know if we have a pre-sale. So we do have this go.ht/SiphonAI. It's a Google form. David, we already have your name on there, so you're all set. When we release it, you're going to have access to it about 3 or 4 days before anybody else does. So you'll be able to have access to it. If you want access to it now, and while it's building, you just have to become an enterprise level user of Mass.page, and you'll have access to it right on your account. So that's that. So go.ht/SiphonAI, SiphonAI is what you're looking for. All right. So I think it is about that time. We have a small group here today, but I think it's about that time. Don't you think, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, it's about that time. Yeah, pretty much just after 11. Yeah.
So we're going to do the wheel of names to win a domain. And these are the domains that are up for grabs today. Shop by, kind of a fun spelling of shop. Lowestpricesale.com. proclicks.com, and proudly.me. These are the domains that are up for sale. If you are looking for domains, we have some in my inventory at go.ht/domains. That's go.ht/domains. And we're going to be, we're building a software. I think that, Stephen, you used that software that I have. We're not going to mention it today, but we built a software to help people to find domains. And eventually,
all right, that is really good.
We're going to open that up to people so that they can find domains that are pretty cool. Didn't you find one like in 10 minutes or 5 minutes?
It was less than that. I think it was a couple of minutes, and I went, right, I'm having that domain name. And I bought it. I can't remember what domain it was, but I know I bought it.
Yeah, you were like, wow, this is just what I was looking for. So
yeah. In fact, it's when you release that, it's going to be ideal, because currently, where I was going to expire domains.net, and searching in there for domain names that would be suitable, and then I'd grab the URLs, put them in brackets, and see if they've got a GMB.
Yeah.
I mean, that tool that you've brought out, Daryl, it's just going to make life a lot easier. Just go and do a search for a term, up it comes, boom, there's my domain name. Let's see if it's got a GMB. Yes, it has. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. So you give me some ideas on what I would like to do with it, with the GMB checking. But yeah, so we'll get to that. That'll be probably later in the fall after we get through all this new stuff we're building. So really, so that's a lot of fun anyway. So we appreciate it. So our biggest fan, Don, says it's the greatest 2 minutes in the whole internet time slot. So we're talking about the Wheel of Names. So go ahead and put your name in if you'd like to win one of our domains today. So go ahead and just put in your first name. If you're new to us, put in your last name as well, and we'll go ahead and we'll put the names inside the Wheel of Names, and somebody's going to walk away with one of my domains. So it's just as easy as that. Father's Day. I think we should only allow fathers to win today. What do you think?
I think most people in the group are fathers. So
yeah.
So get your names in. You got to be in it to win it, as always. And with slightly less people on this week, most people have probably gone out to for Father's Day and what have you.
Yeah.
So so you got a higher chance of winning to get your names in. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
This is better than the lottery. Lottery's like 1,000,000 to 1 or something stupid.
Yeah.
The current it's great.
Yeah. One of the problems we have been having, guys, is that we have people buy the domain or get the domains, and then we never we start the process to get them sent over, and then they don't fulfill the rest of the process, which is the final approval. And so what ends up happening is time will pass, and I still have the domain. So we're going to give you a total of 2 weeks to get the domain transferred over to you. If you, as the person that wins the domain, do not do your part, we will go ahead and give that domain out on another week's shows. Okay, so we can't forever hold the domain for you. If you win it and you don't pick it up within 2 weeks from me, I'm very available on Facebook. So, and I usually reach out to each person, but it's always good for you to reach out to me and say, hey, look, I won a domain. I'd like to retrieve it. That's the way to do it. So, yeah. All right. So we're getting some of these guys in here. Is Harlan? I didn't see Harlan today. 3C Pod. I didn't see Terry. I didn't see Walter. Don, we definitely have. Steve Dimmick is not present. George, I haven't seen.
Dave's
get
here.
Your names in.
It's nice that you guys.
Yeah.
It's nice that you guys watch on the replay, and we love that. But to really be in it, if you're watching on the replay, you got to tune in to watch it live. This is a reward to those that put up with our antics and bad jokes and all of that. We give a little chance to win a domain. So, all right, just gonna clean this up a little bit. So we got Michael Norris, Paul P, David Stowers. Let's put David Stowers is there. David Tullock is there.
Mike Dustford. Mike D. He's been watching.
Okay, Mike D.
He's Mike D. Yeah, he's asked some questions. So.
Okay. Let's see. Anybody else? Put your name in if you would like to win one of our domains. Again, I will show it to you, and you can.
I used to laugh on the weeks when we put not somebody, and then they'd win.
Yeah. Yeah. So shopbuy.com, lowestpricesale.com, proclicks.com, and Proudly Me. Even if you don't think you're going to use it, go ahead and put your name in, because you can always sell these domains for a pretty decent amount of money. So it's definitely worth to put your name in, and we'll we'll give one of these away. If you just want to do it just for fun, give it away to somebody else. I don't care. As long as you tell me who you want to give it away to, that's fine. So make sure you put your name in now if you'd like to be part of our competition here for the domains. Okay.
You know what's cool as well with some of these domain names? If you go, what am I going to do with it? Create a blog, and there's auto blogging software out there that you can even use Siphon to generate the content, create posts, create like 20 posts and schedule them ahead of time, and let that domain name sort of lurk there with the post being built up, and then stick it up on a domain for sale site, an auction site. And say, well, we've been driving traffic to this. You can prove you got traffic from using Google Analytics. So it's an easy way of making money out of a domain name that you've won tonight free of charge.
Absolutely. While we're waiting for more people to put some names in here, we're looking for your name for the domain giveaway. Simon does have was it a white paper or a case study?
It's more details of the slides that we saw tonight with the details. So I did whiz through the stats. If you want to download the PDF with all the stats in that are there, you're welcome to, and the it's on that link. That's it. And if you want to have a chat with me, it's there.
Perfect. Go.ht/Simon. We had Michael Norris that was on last week, and he had a lot of great questions. We're going to try to not spend as many minutes on the interview as possible. If we ever do that with anybody on the channel again, we want to make sure that it's relatively 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. Your questions, we'll get the answers to you. But if you do want to carry on to a conversation with Stephen, myself, or Simon, we could always do that off the air, and we can help consult you and help you and put you in the right direction. So that's what it's all about. So
we've got a late entrant there, Daryl. Lily has added a name there. It's just saying hello. If you could add her on.
Yeah. All right. And all right. I think that's it. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get this wheel spun. Again, we'll show you what domains we have up for grabs. So shopbuy.com, lowestpricesale.com, proclicks.com, and proudly.me. That's a keyword domain, and it makes sense. Proudly.me. Okay. Any more here? Been watching you guys. Give my domain to my friend Steve D. Steve D. Dimick?
Possibly. Is it Steve Dimick, Lily?
I don't know. We'll see. All right, you guys ready? We're going to go ahead and spin the wheel, and let's see what happens.
Good luck, everyone.
Fun is 2 minutes.
You're not showing the wheel.
Oh, okay. Hold on a second. I think I'm going to.
Oh, let's add it to stream.
Yeah, let's add it to stream. All right, I got to put Lily's name back in because it didn't.
You've got I think we got the graphic up still, haven't we? For
that's why.
Win a domain.
That's why. Okay.
Hey.
All right, here we go. Spin the wheel.
Mike D.
Mike D. Congratulations.
Well done, Mike.
It's Mike DeSaud, right? Mike DeSaud, I think it is. So we'll have Mike, if you're still with us, go ahead and reach out to me and tell me which of these domains you would like to take home as a parting gift with the show today. Shopbuy.com, lowestpricesale.com, proclicks.com with a Z, and proudly.me. Most of these are age domains, so they have a lot of history to them. So go ahead and do the research, and you can see how old they are and how long they've been around. So Stowers says, congratulations, Mike. Yeah, Mike, this says lowestpricesale.com. Nice choice. One. Mike DeSaud. Disrude. So very good. Reach out to me again. We have a 2-week limit for you to get your domains transferred over. If you don't do it, it could be given away in future weeks. So we have a few people that didn't pick up their domains in the past, and so I don't want to be holding on to them forever on your behalf. So we definitely need to do something to make sure that they get transferred over. So you got it. Reach out to me on Facebook, and you have got a domain. So congratulations, and have fun with that. I'm going to use my tool to go get some more lead gen domains, because we have not sold, but we have given away a lot of these domains so far. And so I haven't been shopping. So I have to go shopping and get some more cool gems to make it fun on our Sunday nights. So
maybe one week, Daryl, you should give away the chance for someone to win early access to your tool.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because the tool is up. It's just not officially up to people. But yeah, that would be kind of cool. And I would tell them the credentials off the air. So
yeah,
that's cool. All right, guys. We have a small group. Again, we want to warn you that we don't want anybody to kind of monopolize and take up too much time. So if you could stick to your 5 minutes, that would be greatly appreciated. But we're going to have guests come on. I don't have it linked up yet. So Stephen, if you want to talk a little bit, we'll go ahead and we'll get this added to our account, and then we can.
Don't go to go.hd/guest just yet while Daryl frantically types away. It's interesting. Some of the things I enjoy doing when it comes to lead generation is I have a process of setting up websites. So I always build my website first, and I add content. And I don't worry about phone numbers and web forms at first. I get the content built on the site, which is great with Siphon, because you can do a quick search straight away, pull your data in, and then stick it straight onto your site, and you're done. And so I do all the content first. Once I've done that, I then focus on the citations. After the citations, I focus on the GMB and the Bing listings. Social media signs as well. There are free plugins out there and sites where you can, and I'm trying to remember one of them, that there's I think is it Integrity or some name like that, Integrately or something, I can't remember what it's called, but it's where it will grab a post from your WordPress site and share it automatically to Twitter or Facebook. So you can then schedule up your content for the next 12 months on a site. And if you spin the content, when you get to the end of the 12 months, just use it again for the next year and the next year. As long as it's the title's being spun and the content's being spun, and then that puts a post out onto your WordPress site, and then products out there will grab them and share them onto social media platforms. And if you build it right, that's all automated. And then when you say, I want to do an update on my social media, go and create a post, and it will share it out automatically. And the only other thing I'd recommend really is try and log into the social media accounts, to say hello to people who have signed up. Don't overdo it. You have 5 or 6 per site, and that's sort of a good high PR backlink. Don't buy backlinks from Fiverr. I know someone that bought 100 backlinks from someone on Fiverr, and their domain name went straight downhill. So don't do that either. And so have you got your link in now, Daryl?
Yes, we do. So if you go to go.hc/guest, you can join us on there. And thank you, Stephen. You always are great for fill in time, Mr. Phil.
Yeah.
And,
my first name's Phil, middle name's In.
Fill in. Yep.
Yeah.
So great. And if you guys aren't familiar with our Facebook groups, let's all just share what our Facebook groups are. Mine is facebook.com/groups/masspage, MASSPAGE. So Stephen, what is yours?
I'm just trying to remember, because it should really be Leadgenmagic, but it isn't. So I'll let Simon share his while I look mine back up.
Okay.
Well, I've just gone through a rebrand this week, literally. So I've come up with a memorable name, and I'm called Local SEO Heroes. Who want to have something a bit more out there and memorable. So I've got the domain name as well. So if you want to be a hero for your client or for your own business, come and see us at localseoheroes.com.
I typed that in wrong. because at the end I didn't put OES. I put heroes with an S at it, and it goes to some other chap's website if you don't put the ES at the end. So make sure you're not a numbskull like me, and you spell it the way that, that Simon has it spelled right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
mine is facebook.com/group/SEO and Leadgen.
Can you make that under the banners so we can always flash that to people?
Yeah, I will
And
go in now
as well. Just because our Facebook groups are great. All three of us are putting out some marvelous content that is there to help you. There's other people interacting. I love it when people are answering questions for other members. That's always super, super awesome. And so we had a few of that, some of those things this week. And I actually, when I get a new question or a post, I like to let it sit a little bit and not jump and answer their question. I'd like to see if some other people in the group want to add something to it or add additional questions and things like that. So I watch all of the communication inside the group, and you two are both moderators in my group. So you guys are looking at it as well. So I really appreciate it. So my group, I'm just going to flash that on the screen, is facebook.com/groups/mass page. And Stephen, did you put yours in?
Yeah, mine's the next one down. So I'll show that now.
Oh, I hit it at the same time you did.
Oh, go on. You do it. Go on.
Yeah. There we go.
That way then we're not.
Facebook.com/groups SEO and Leadgen. That's AND. Leadgen. Okay. So we got some good stuff there. So awesome.
And actually, Daryl, I'll do a little final plug. On Google My Business, I'm actually going to be doing a special group training session for my group. So if you want to join my group in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to do like a group training on Google My Business, and that's going to be for a small fee, but it's going to be like a 2-hour session. It's going to be an online mini course. That's my little plug. So if you are a member of my group, you'll get that, and there'll be some details in there if you want to know more about Google My Business. So that's
awesome.
Plug for the evening. Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. All right. Well, we do have, I guess, Michael Norris. Michael, join us again this week. How are you, Michael?
Hey, Michael.
I think he's muted at the moment. I think let's give him.
All right. Sorry about that. I unmuted myself. I didn't want you guys have any background noise while you were talking.
Yes. Are you a father?
Yes, I am.
Well, happy Father's Day to you, sir.
Well, happy Father's Day to you guys as well.
Yeah. So how can we help you this week? I hear Simon's been helping you a little bit, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
We had a chat, didn't we, Michael? Yeah, we caught up. Yeah,
we talked, and I signed up for his Google News site a deal that he was promoting last week.
Yeah,
cool.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's on your mind?
That just mentioning that made me think of a new question. And I know you guys want to keep it short, so I'll just do these as a rapid fire thing. This would be for Simon. With the crackdown that Google was doing years ago on PBNs, what makes the Google not look at all these private news blogs as a private blog network like they were cracking down on before in the past, and probably still do, where they were then penalizing sites if it was coming from a blog network? What makes this different in their eyes, where they're not wanting to penalize sites coming from these blog news sites?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. So the sites that are in my news networks, these are sites that I own, and also I work with partners as well. So there's over 300. First of all, they're all approved individually by Google. So they've gone through a process and they have a special status as a result. The feeds from that information goes into Google News as an aggregation service. It's not just any site. They have to go through that to start with. And secondly, we're very, very careful about how many articles we put in there and how many links we put in there as well. So it's strictly limited. So a PBN, I mean, that can mean a private blog network, which I guess would be restricted and you control what's happening, or more like something you might see on Fiverr might be a public blog network where it's thousands of articles, all completely unrelated, all uncontrolled, dollar links and all the rest of it. So all the stuff that is in the news network that I use is every article is relevant to the niche that the site is. So if it's a location niche or a location site or a niche site, and the volume is strictly limited as well. So that's to prevent it from being seen as a public blog network, because it's not open to everybody, and the number of posts is strictly limited, and there are also sites that are approved by Google. So that's why we aim to keep the integrity of the network high. So that's the approach.
Yeah, I think another thing, Simon, that the reason why private blog networks kind of fail the algorithm is that a lot of times they don't have traffic. And I think the way the Google News sites are set up, they kind of get a little more traffic than, say, a typical GMB, PBN.
Regular site,
Yeah, they were just all about the links and, authority and stuff like that. Whereas everything really comes down to having that traffic, Mike. I think if your site doesn't have pass-through traffic that's real, I think eventually it just starts to de-index and fall apart. So, do you have another question for it? We're going to keep it down to 2 questions today. If you don't mind, we'll share it on the next question.
Sure. All right. Based on what you were saying earlier, and some things I was looking at, because I'm all new to this mass page building, and you were talking about reducing the risk, and then whether it's your money site or versus if you're just putting up a lead gen site that you can, if that one goes down, you can just replace it. I was just curious, based on what you were saying earlier, would it be unwise? Would I be putting my money site that I've had for years and years at risk if I'm putting up spun content and generated stuff that mass page can mass produce for a lead gen site? Would that be putting my money site at danger, at any risk, if I was putting that kind of content on my money site? And would it be best, if that's the case, to avoid that and just set up a separate site altogether? And if that one goes down, it goes down, no big deal.
Yeah, I think if I can handle this one, what I say is, first of all, I use mass page on real sites, but I do it very, very carefully. And I don't do a lot of spin text that I do light spinning, very light manual spinning. And I don't do like more than 100 pages, depending on the authority of the site. If it has a lot of authority, a lot of traffic, I might do 200, 300 pages, but I don't go really outrageous. And I'll also spin, have those pages come out slowly, right, a little at a time. But I think what we were talking about is the GMB tricks of the trade, some of these black hat, dark hat kind of things that you got to be really careful when it comes to a real business. These kinds of either black hat backlinking or black hat GMB tricks, you got to be super careful with those things. That's my opinion.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to lead gen, you're in a different territory. So definitely, I hope you got some value with us today, Michael.
Yeah. So you are saying that I could still put spun content then on my money site, and would that even be recommended? Because I'm trying to generate real clients, and if they're seeing a bunch of spun content, wouldn't that kind of?
Yeah, I agree. If you do it very minimal. Like when I do a website for a real client, real website, I'll do like one sentence per every other paragraph, and I'll make 1 or 2 adjustments to it so that the page changes a little bit, but it's always 100% readable, good quality content. So you're on the right point, Michael.
Okay, and you're doing that manually, or you're having your program do it?
No. What I do is I manually create the spin text, and then I let the program change it for those pages. So you have some variety. So, like I said, I mean, it's fine to have, the keywords are going to change, the locations are going to change, and then if you do a little bit of that spin text lightly, it works okay. And you got to have authority and traffic. If you don't have authority and traffic, either through PPC or through social or different things to get you some real traffic throughput, your index pages won't last forever. So you're going to have to make sure that there's some traffic to the site as in a whole, and it sounds like your site does have traffic. So I think you're going to be okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. Thanks for dropping in.
Daryl, can I just sort of just highlight that? Because I think when people hear about spinning, and we've all seen spun text, spun blogs, and it looks like garbage, gobbledygook. And I think when people hear that, that's what they have in mind. I'm just going to spin it, put it through some sort of tool. It's going to there's going to be a lot of those variations. But I think you're also talking about not synonym spinning, which is, I know, a term you've used when we've been speaking. It's spinning sentences. It's spinning calls to action. It's spinning paragraphs, swapping them out. So it's not the sort of type of content that you would see for a lower quality. There's still very high content. But you might actually have the introductory sentence might be one for one page, but different for a second page. And if you have enough variations, the sum of those creates enough variety to make it look like a rich site without synonym spinning every single word, which can get some bad results. So it's just, I think that's
and I also don't want you guys to forget that Mike Martin's tool, Magic Page Plugin, does a great job with the spin text within a meta description. Okay, for meta descriptions to be different on every page is an SEO ranking signal that the page is worthy of being indexed. So some things where spin text makes a lot of sense, I do it. Where it doesn't make sense, where it degrades the quality of the content, I don't do that. I don't use spin text just to have variety on the page, because I believe that duplicate penalties are overblown. I don't think that duplicate penalties are nearly as bad as people used to think they are. But I think that bad content is bad. You get bounce rates, you get all kinds of bad signals back to Google that the content is just spun crap. And definitely Mike was on the right track. Mike, you're on the right track. If you're going to do any spin text, do a very, very minimal. Make sure that your descriptions are different on your pages. Simon can help you with that with Magic Page Plugin to make sure that your descriptions are written differently with the location and all of that. And so you'll be able to get that rectified there. All right, what were you going to say, Stephen?
I was going to say I agree with that. And the thing is, when I did a site probably last year for a client of mine, and I added Magic Page plugin to it, and all I've done, I took their front page and one of their other pages and merged them together, and then I just changed the location, set in it using the location code with Magic Page plugin, and then the only other bits I changed is things like and or, and anything that very small sort of words that you can put an alternative in. So instead of saying we are the best local gardeners, you could change it to we are known as the best. So you spin it with extra words of content. And I only did about 5 or 6 places on the page. I didn't do a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And then I zapped it out in the local area, and they're already getting results. And the reason I say that content's king, right? And what I mean by that is, if someone comes to your site and there's not a lot of content and the site looks rubbish, they're going to go, click away. I haven't found what I want. Bye-bye. So they've been on your site for 2, 3, 4 seconds, maybe, right? So the key to this that I recommend you do is get good content where they're going to be on your site for at least a minute or more, looking down for the information. They're going to fill a form in, maybe. They're going to phone up your number. And that there will keep, if they keep on your site longer, Google are going to go, well, hello, this must be a valuable site. We must move it up. And that helps. And also, like I said, citations and decent links, not crap links.
Right.
That's the main thing. You don't have to do a lot to it, and you'll find that your site will boost fine.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with that. And some great points from you guys. All right. Anything else? Anybody else want to join us? Go ahead. You get a couple questions on here. I know Michael's trying to get back in. Michael, if you could just put a comment in the comments section you've kind of had your turn, so we're going to give other people an opportunity. So it would be good if you could just go ahead and put your comment in the comment section. We'll go ahead and answer it for you. Or you could reach out to one of us separately. We'll go ahead and
ping us a message directly. The one thing about us three, we're always happy to respond to your questions.
Yep.
You can send direct messages. We all do a free session, where we'll chat to you briefly about your requirements.
Yep.
And most of us have the general knowledge anyway of what we're doing. So that's sort of the area you want to look at.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's it for the show today. Happy Father's Day to everybody.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day to yourself, Daryl and Simon.
Absolutely. Yeah. You too. Thanks, guys.
I've got to be in before midnight because the rule is on Father's Day that my partner makes all the cups of teas, but we have up till midnight. So I've got half an hour to get about 10 cups of teas in.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being with me on this special day for you and your families. And we thank for everybody that's watching on the replay. Make sure that you like and subscribe. If you're watching a video on any of our channels, make sure you follow the other groups that we talked about. And you guys are wonderful. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and going through the replay. So
please share as well. Please share.
Happy Father's Day to you, Dave. Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Don. We just had Don on here. Great session as always. Love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you guys. Bye now. Take care.